is it too late? I know there are other business owners that go, oh, it's already too late. I've missed the bandwagon. What's your perspective on that?
I mean, first off, this isn't like the stock like Bitcoin, right? It's not like it's too late where you just missed the huge advantage. I had a long-standing employee, worked for me for about 8 years, amazing employee, but they had an incident that had happened before, and I wanted to write something up. Right, and I don't like to write people up. What I did was I built an HR manager, AI persona or AI employee. I let it know the situation that I was dealing with. Because of its training, it already knew about my business, it already knew about the industry I'm in, it already knew about kind of how we go about disciplinating people and performance improvement plans and all of that stuff. AI, once I let it know, hey, I need a disciplinary form, but I really like this employee, so it's important that it's written in a way that leaves them feeling like, not in trouble. And then I also need a performance improvement plan to go along with it. I think what makes the AI persona method so valuable is, at least for me, it's like increasing productivity with AI is possible right now in a massive way. And it doesn't take fancy tools or expensive subscriptions or developing custom models or anything like that.
Hi, and welcome to the AI Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Mast, and I've got today with me, we've got Joey Gindy. And Joey, am I saying the last name right? I should have prefaced that. I never even did in the pre-call. I never like, oh my goodness, is it Gindy? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, it is right. You did well.
Awesome.
Good job.
Awesome. Well, again, Joey and I are going to talk about AI like we normally talk on the show, but Joey's got some interesting background and business background and all that, and so I'm really looking forward to this. Joey, before I blow this any more than I already have by messing up your name, tell us a little bit about yourself, and particularly, how did you get into AI and what caused you to get into that?
Yeah, at first you didn't botch the name. You did well. So I'll
Thank you.
So I've been in the cannabis industry actually for about 16 years. So that's my background. Straight out of college, Boulder, Colorado is where I went to school. I got into the cannabis industry in 2009 and been doing that ever since. We've got 2 stores here. We used to have a grow. We closed that down a few years ago. And I want to say May of 23, I had let go of my marketing manager. I was not happy with the talent that was out there in the marketing for the cannabis industry. And so I decided to take it in my own hands. Now, I'm not a marketer. I don't have a background. I had done some studying of marketing for a few years, so I had a basic understanding for what good marketing was, but I didn't have the experience. And so I got introduced to, actually, the guy that you know, Jeff Hunter.
Exactly.
And that was kind of my entryway into AI. And so I had learned the AI persona method and learned how to create these AI employees to work within my business. And immediately I started implementing those into Ajoya, into my cannabis dispensaries. And started using them for email marketing, started using them, creating them for myself, like a CEO consultant, AI persona, started creating a human resources, an HR manager AI persona, and a variety of things. And I was just mind blown at what became possible almost overnight. It was like all these things that I either avoided doing or I felt like I didn't have the skill set to do, or would take a lot of time. With learning the AI persona method, I was able to create these various employees, like a team of executives for myself, and just start producing a lot more higher quality work, leveraging all of my experience, all of the knowledge I had in the cannabis industry and running a business and building that into a persona and then using it. And so that's how I got introduced to it. And from there, I just fell in love and, got certified and, I kind of went from there.
No, I love it. No, and I, like you said, we kind of met through Jeff Hunter and his course there. Talk to me a little bit about the AI employee. So I know a lot of our listeners, they've heard that concept and okay, I can have a persona, I can develop that. But I think a lot of our listeners are really struggling to understand, what does that really mean? Because it's not like you've got an AI employee who's literally going to be following up and doing things without your involvement. You need to be involved to a certain extent. I've tried to explain it. I think I've probably done a pretty rotten job. Can you, from your perspective, how do you describe to that business owner who goes, what in the world is an AI employee? How do you describe that?
It's a great question, and I think I've struggled with it sometimes, just like you have, right? It's almost been like I need to show people so they can see.
Absolutely.
It's difficult to talk about. But if I were to put some words on it, it's like having an employee that you are delegating to and actively working with in real time, right? It's not like a set it and forget it kind of employee where you say, hey, take on this project and go. You're actually having to interact with it and work back and forth in whatever language model you're using. Um, but when it comes to, one of the first things I used it for was HR,
Yeah.
right? I had a long-standing employee worked for me for about 8 years, amazing employee, but they had an incident that had happened before, and I wanted to write something up, right? And I don't like to write people up. I don't like to do disciplinary
Right.
reports, especially when it's with an employee that like I love and is great, right? But at the same time, as a business owner, I'm like, I need to document this because if
Correct.
I don't document it, I've already gone down that rabbit hole of not documenting things and it comes back to bite you. So what I did was I built an HR manager, AI persona or AI employee. I let it know the situation that I was dealing with. Because of its training, it already knew about my business. It already knew about the industry I'm in. It already knew about kind of how we go about disciplinating people and performance improvement plans and all of that stuff. Already trained in all of that. And so at this point, it was just letting it know about the incident that occurred and
Hmm.
asking the AI, once I let it know, hey, I need a disciplinary form, but I really like this employee, so it's important that it's written in a way that leaves them feeling like I don't remember what words I used, but not in trouble,
Right.
and so it's
Yes. Yeah.
important that it was written in a particular tone, and then I also need a performance improvement plan to go along with it. And so it went ahead and drafted up this disciplinary form, drafted up this performance improvement plan, and I got through this whole process in a matter of a couple minutes, less than 10 minutes to go through the whole thing.
Yes.
And it was incredible, and I took it and I sent it to my HR guy because I do have a subcontractor HR person, and he read through it and thought it was great, and he said, "Go ahead and use this," and I went ahead and used it, and that was that. So
I
not
love.
only did it saved me, hours of talking to my HR guy, it saved me dollars in paying the HR guy to actually do it, saved money for him to actually create the disciplinary report and the performance improvement plan, and I got to just do it myself. So
I
hope
love
that
the way you described that. I think that that's something that I've probably missed as I've described it. People hear AI employee, and I think a lot of them think, okay, so I'm going to have an HR person that I can basically go, I've got a problem child, go deal with them. And that's not how it works. But I love
no,
how you described there. It's somebody that you're going to collaborate with that's been trained, that has all that. And I love the example you gave there because I found that to be so true. Like you said, I've got an HR issue. Normally, you would go talk to your HR manager or your HR company or whomever, and that conversation, just to explain what you wanted to happen, would take half an hour, not to mention all of the back and forth and the other things. And now with that AI employee, that AI persona, you can literally go in and within minutes get all of that done for you and have it happen while you're driving and directing it. It's still
yeah,
happening so much faster, and it's saving you literally just on that one situation, probably an hour or more of your time, not to mention expenses and other things and all that going on. So I love the way
yeah.
you described that. I think that's super, super relevant.
I think the key word too that you used is collaborate. Like maybe that's how we need to describe it, right? It's like you're collaborating with an AI employee to get a job done, and you don't have to do it alone anymore. It's like you've got like a sidekick. It's like for me in cannabis, like I need to develop training for sales staff instead of going out and finding a contractor tasking my staff with it. And I could task my staff with it, but whether it's them or me, what would it be like to develop an AI employee trained in how to create sales trainings that they can collaborate with and do a week's worth of work in an hour?
Well, this morning I did it, and I think it's another relevant example for our listeners. Is I'm writing an article for a magazine about AI detection tools, and I'll be real candid. I think AI detection tools are a sham. They're
Yeah.
not particularly accurate. They have tons of false positives, and normally I would have hired a researcher to go out in this case because it's not just a blog post or whatever. It's actually going to be an article. And so I want to make sure everything's well documented. And I would have hired a researcher to go out and research things based upon my premise. Well, today instead, I literally took a custom trained model that's trained on my tone and my style and what I wanted out of it. And I explained, here's the objective, here's what I want it, the perspective I want. I need you to go out and I need you to do research on the internet to find this information. And it did, and it brought it back. And then I asked a couple follow-up questions. Hey, in addition to this, one of the questions I asked is, in addition to the items that said, give me a list of the types of historical documents AI detection says is AI, did that. I then said, great, are there any institutions or businesses that have come out and said they're no longer going to use these tools due to problems? And sure enough, it came out and gave me a list of all these institutions. And then I said, in addition, can we search through those and can we find any quotes or facts or statistics that we can use in the article that will validate that? And by the way, I need citations. And literally, all of this is happening, admittedly, as I'm driving down the road in my truck using voice mode, and I'm just having a conversation with the AI model, at which point in time I sent it over to my editorial team and I said, will you just take a quick look at this and let me know what your thoughts are? And this is the amazing part. About 20 minutes later, they sent me back 5 different articles written with AI based on my tone and style, all using all the data, which was tons of data, to factor into that article. And they had already proofed them and said, all right, all of these are good. All of these meet your needs. Figure out which one you like best. And that would have normally taken me days to transpire and certainly hours worth of time over those days. And it all happened, even when I count my team's time, it all happened in less than an hour.
It's amazing. And you definitely would not have written 5 different styles of this.
I would have been lucky to get one done.
Yeah.
That to me is the interesting part about AI. I'd love your perspective on this, Joey. One of the things as an ADD entrepreneur, which I readily admit I am, I'll raise my hand, I am that ADD entrepreneur. I always had lots of ideas, but I could rarely implement them fast enough before other ideas overflooded them. And so that meant that there were a lot of great ideas I had, or at least ideas I thought were great, that I never really got to try out because it took too long. The process was going to be too lengthy. And sometimes that was content, that I wanted to share with somebody. Sometimes it was an idea. I love using AI to help me brainstorm through things and help me validate or invalidate some of those assumptions. Have you ever used AI on that basis? And if so, how have you found it works in your business in that aspect?
For like taking ideas and actually creating
hey,
something.
I've got this grand idea of maybe how we could do things better in the cannabis area. Talking to it again, almost treating AI as a consultant to help you work through ideas. Have you ever done anything like that with it?
Yeah, I definitely have, and I feel like I've done it. I do it so often that there's not like one jumping out.
Yeah. I totally get that.
Yeah, I mean, it's become it's who I collaborate with all the time. We had a recent this is somewhat relevant, maybe not, but we had a recent break-in at one of our stores. So
Yikes.
This was maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's happened about 5 times over the years. And, I was frustrated because the police, were they called at a particular time or was it delayed by a certain amount of minutes, allowing the people to get in and out? And so whatever happened. And I wanted to address the security company. And so I went ahead and I was like, oh yeah, like I can use AI for this now. So I grabbed the contracts and the agreements and I told the AI what was going on and I scanned the contracts and the agreements. And again, it was kind of like you, I just spoke to text.
Yeah.
Explained everything and my concerns about the lag time between when they started breaking in and the security guy seeing him on the camera versus when they called the police and this whole thing, and then I was like, I need an action plan and I don't want to do this work. I want to let my manager contact the security company instead of me. And I want to guide her on how to speak to them and what to talk about and what the agreement says and all of this. And it spit out this whole plan for what to do and how to address it and how my manager could talk to the company and what they should talk about and what the company's liable for and what they're not liable for, ultimately to achieve the goal, which is I want 4 to 6 months credit on the service, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the goal, but they weren't liable according to the contract. And this is one of the things I love about AI is even if they're not liable, it's going to give you ways to talk in the conversation to
Exactly.
get them to like be more amenable to what you want, right? And that's the part that I loved. And then on top of that, the last thing that I asked it to do is like write some objections that my manager might face from the security company and how she might respond to those objections. And so it did exactly that. And so I sent this whole piece to her. She read through it and was like, "This is super helpful. Thank you so much. I'll get on this right away." And that was that.
I
Right.
love it. That's a
So
great example, though. I think, again, as business people, that happens to us all the time. We can't understand everything, and yet we know oftentimes what our goals and objective. I love in that case how you basically were able to share the relevant details of the situation. Say, here's the outcome I'm looking to achieve. How
yeah.
can I get there? And that again, that'd be the normal thing. You'd need a consultant or an attorney for or whatever. And in this case, just you had the opportunity to talk. And how can I ask how did it work out for you? I mean, was it effective?
This literally just happened 2 days ago. So she's in the works right now.
Okay.
I'll have to follow up with you. You can
But at least,
post
if
yours.
nothing else, it allowed you to do something that maybe in the past you might have said, never mind, we're just going to let it go because I don't have time to deal with it. Now you actually had the opportunity
Yeah.
to go ahead and deal with it. And that's amazing. I'd love to talk a little bit about the AI persona method. I know
Yeah.
that's something that you and I have both taken and been certified in. Tell the audience a little bit about that and what makes that valuable to them as opposed to just going out and creating a custom GPT on their own.
Great question. Um, I think what makes the AI persona method so valuable is it's, at least for me, it's like increasing productivity with AI is
Hmm.
possible right now in a massive way. And it doesn't take fancy tools or expensive subscriptions or developing custom models or anything like that to increase productivity. At the end of the day, like if you're someone who uses AI versus someone that doesn't, even without the AI persona method, your productivity is going to go up some percentage. But build yourself a team of AI personas. Like for me, as a business owner and an AI consultant, to have my HR persona, to have my workshop persona, something that builds presentations for me, to have my marketing assistant persona, to have this team of 5, 8, 10, 15 different personas that I can turn to at any given point is going to naturally increase my production in a massive way. Right. So when I think about like my team at Ajoya right now, and even other clients of mine that are in cannabis or other industries, one of the first things that I'm going to be getting into at this point in 2025 is how do I level up employees and
Hmm.
business owners to be that much more productive inside of their business and be able to get results like right now without doing integrations or APIs or this and that. Like you can just do it right now.
I love
Um,
that. I
and
love
so
that.
it's
That's great.
powerful. I mean, I think, it's a way for people to take advantage of AI right now at their fingertips. So the AI
No,
persona
absolutely.
makes that possible.
If you were going to be talking to someone, Joey, and you and I were talking pre-call a little bit. I am a huge believer that 2024 was a year that business owners could have either embraced AI or kind of sat on the sidelines and waited. And we know a lot of them did, and that's okay. I think 2025, as we're recording this now, is going to be different. I think by the time we're done with 2025, we're going to see a clear delineation between those businesses that have embraced AI and used it and those that haven't. I'm not predicting those that haven't are going to go out of business, but I do think they're going to struggle significantly more and they're going to have any problems related to that. What are your thoughts about that as we go into 2025? It's January right now as we're recording this. Is this year to really embrace things? And I guess maybe even better question apart with that, is it too late? I know there are other business owners that go, oh, it's already too late. I've missed the bandwagon. What's your perspective on that?
I mean, first off, this isn't like the stock like Bitcoin, right? It's not like it's too late where you just missed the huge advantage, right? Like it's available now, and the best time to start is right now. And
Hmm.
so definitely the message would be it's absolutely not too late. Like get the ball rolling if you haven't yet. Take some courses, and better yet, don't even take a course. Just start using it, right? Like
Yeah.
just sign up for ChatGPT, sign up for Claude, sign up for Perplexity. try Llama, sign up for X for a couple months and try Grok, like try these different models out for various things. Take a basic course and get started. And I think, companies that get started now, as you know, John, like when people get started with AI, their productivity jumps immensely.
Yes.
Right? All of a sudden they go from here to here with productivity. And there's going to be so many more people embracing AI in 2025.
Yeah.
It's going to be more than 2024 and obviously more this year. And so I think people that don't embrace it right now and start taking advantage of what's available to them right now are going to find themselves really behind the curve compared to their competitors every month, every week, every month that time goes on. 100%. It's naturally just going to be like that, right? Like the more people or businesses are going to embrace it, they're going to be producing more content, their teams are going to be more efficient, their work staff will be happier and enjoy their lives more, so the culture will go up, morale will be better. That's not just a shoe-in just because you have AI, but it's going to help, especially if you do it strategically and do it in the right ways.
That's so good. You mentioned something that I think it was really, really profound, Joey, and that was this isn't like Bitcoin. It's not like it's too late. You've missed the rush. It's something that's going to continue to grow, continue to evolve. I think we're going to see just my crystal ball's cracked and cloudy, but I think we're going to see tremendous innovations in 2025 in a lot of different areas of AI. So I think that's a really good way to look at it, regardless of where you're at as you're listening to this podcast or what date it even is. If you're started, that's great. And if you're not, now is the best time to get started and try to figure out how to implement it into their business. This morning, it was interesting. I had a conversation with another coach that I know, and he was sharing that as they go through their training programs with businesses, that they're actually, and they track this through their cohorts they do, but they're seeing an average savings when they work with teams, which is a big part of what they do, that the average employee in a company is saving somewhere between 6 and 10 hours every single week after just 1 week of training, in this case, which is 2 sessions in that case. So basically 2 hours of training on how to use AI, examples in that the average employee is saving, again, oftentimes 10 hours a week. You think about that, and that's just amazing that essentially for every hour of training, they're saving almost that much of time per day in what they do by implementing that. Have you seen, without specific statistics, because they happen to track all this, but what types of impact have you seen with businesses that are implementing AI, or have you seen in your own business to give some perspective to that on what you're seeing?
I mean, very similar to what you're saying, I mean, the amount of time saved is significant. Being able to automate and stream, so the automations and streamlining certain things, like where it's not just an AI persona, actually building integrations. I think that's something I'll be working on, and I anticipate certain integrations are going to, at least in my business in cannabis, it's going to save 20 minutes here, an hour here, 30 minutes there, especially when you get into like the data analysis and figuring out what to do
Huge,
with that information. And data analysis is a beast. So I anticipate in that realm saving copious amounts of time and having it be more accurate. But from my experience right now, it's similar to yours. It's like I save. It's hard to even quantify how much time I save because I'm doing things that I wouldn't have been doing before. Like I have a workshop on Wednesday. It's going to be a 6-hour workshop. It's actually my first one. It's with an 18-chain dispensary, and I'm going to be talking to them about education that's relevant to the cannabis industry and their business. And then we're going to be talking about different AI implementations specific to their business that we can unfold in the next 1 to 2 years and building a roadmap to get there. So that's what the whole workshop's going to be about. But building all of the slides for that and doing all of the research for that and building all the speaker notes and everything for that, it would have taken me a copious amount of time, especially when I've got kids and I've got a family and I've got 2 businesses that I'm running. I probably wouldn't have done it, or it would have taken me a few months to get done. So
I love as you share that. I think that's probably been my biggest aha moment with AI is that there's like we said, there's so many projects and things I'd like to do, but I just never would get around to because of the amount of time they would take or whatever. And
Yeah.
AI now allows me to do so much of that very quickly. Now, I mean, it's not going to take an 8 hour job and turn it into an 8 minute job generally. But I know, at least in my personal experience, it's often going to take that 8 hour job and turn it into two. And that
Yeah.
means that I can get 4 to 5 times more work done, or I can just double my productivity and take some more time off, neither of which are a bad
Yeah.
place to be. So I've definitely noticed that. I love how you share that too. Sometimes these are just things we would have never got around to prior to having AI available to do that. No, it makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
One of the things that I love is like even beyond business, right? Like AI in your personal life. The other day I took a picture of a storage closet in my house, and it was like, how do I? And this is relevant for business because you can use it in the same way with like screenshots of your website, or screenshots of competitors and comparing them and different things like that. But I took a picture of my storage unit. It was like, I need a Marie Kondo this. Like I need to get
Mm.
this stuff cleaned out. Like help me. And I created a mini persona for it, and then it just spit out kind of an action plan. And it was semi specific because it could see the pictures that I took, and helped me kind of create a plan to get this thing done that I just. It's to your point. It's like things that you just put off in your business or in your personal life. You just put it off because you're like, I don't even know where to get started, or that's going to take so much
Yes.
time. Just take a picture and ask it to help you and see what happens.
That reminds
It's
me of, I think you and I have probably heard of this. I'm sure some of the audience has as well. When it comes dinner time and you're not sure what to do, taking a picture of your refrigerator and asking AI based upon what it's identified what to make for dinner. And the fact that assuming it can identify what's actually in your refrigerator, it actually can do an incredible job of doing that. I love the idea of, doing that, like you said, in an area of how can I organize this better? How can I do that? The visual capabilities and its ability to recognize
yeah,
patterns like that is so incredibly impressive, candidly, to me, that
yeah.
it can do that. It just is amazing.
I agree. I created a this might be relevant. People might like thinking outside the box a little bit about what you can do with like Claude projects, or now
Hmm.
ChatGPT has ChatGPT projects. I built a project specific to like my health and wellness, right? And this is something I'm about to test with a client of mine for a new client that I'm taking on. It'll be the same kind of concept. But I built
Hmm.
a project around my health, and then I started to build, put in my data from my labs and build it as artifacts or documents within the project, and then train it to support me with like diet and exercise. And so to start keeping a history of like my health and what I need to lower my cholesterol, or maintain my weight, or whatever it might be, so that I can just go into this project and take a picture of some things. Hey, this is what time I ate breakfast. I kind of off beat with my diet today. What does the rest of my day need to look like? And then it can spit it out and give me the rest of my day with nutrition and like what I should be eating and what times I should eat and all of that. And same
That's so
concept with the
cool.
client. I'm like, you're working with a new client, bring an AI with you. And I haven't tested this yet, so I'm doing it now with you through the whole life cycle of that client. Create a project that's specific to that client and begin to, upload the data, upload the information, have it be a collaborative partner throughout the whole project where everything's stored in one place. Combine that with AI personas, and you've got like a team of AI powerhouses and
Mm.
yourself specifically working on a client, being able to be updated in real time with transcripts, with whatever it needs, documents, presentations, whatever it needs, so that it's in the know and can support you through it.
Mm.
So
I love that. I love that. It's so good. As you take a look forward into 2025, I don't know about you, Joey. I know my crystal ball, as I mentioned, is a little cloudy and definitely cracked on occasion. But what are some of the areas you see as we go into 2025 that you see some of the most exciting changes that you envision we're going to be seeing, or advances that you believe we're going to see?
I feel like the one I'm going to say is probably what a lot of us are hearing, and it's the AI agents,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
It's the AI being able to autonomously like click on things on your, and browse and take action on your behalf. And this year I think we'll see massive leaps in that, and definitely into next year. I think it's
Hmm.
it's only going to grow from there. But if you write if you have a process for writing an email campaign, a series of emails, and putting them in HubSpot or whatever your CRM might be, imagine an AI that can do all that for you. You say, hey,
Yeah.
here's my written content. Go put it in HubSpot or put it in wherever and get it set up to go on these dates, and that's all you do. So I'm
Love that.
excited to see, I'm exploring with a client right now, building something that can book flights, right? It can take payment information, it can have payment information stored and be able to click around and research and book flights on people's behalf. So I think these AI agents are going to be pretty big this year.
No,
We will
I
see.
think you're spot on, and definitely what I'm hearing a lot of. I think that as you kind of stated, it's kind of combining automations and AI together. Stringing together multiple AI tasks, especially when we know that we need. There are multiple steps that we can go through and basically go, okay, this is a 7-step process, and I need to do each as a unique step, but they all are chained together. And given that ability of AI to now do that with agents, with automations, and really, I think, save exponential amounts of time when we know that we can say, okay, here's the 7 steps we need to go through, and we now can take that and feed that forward with even different AI models, to the point of even saying, all right, I've now got maybe a social media post that's been written, but I need to create a video script to go along with it, and I need to create some images. And knowing that that could now literally take that script, feed it to a trained persona that was a specialist in writing, short form video content, also send it over to your AI image tool that was trained in the style and the type of image that your brand wants to see, and have it kick out 5 images that could be used for that. And know that, again, that could all be essentially happening automatically every time an article is created. And then it's just up to the humans to make sure that everything matches and is of decent quality. To me, I think those are just some massive areas for time savings as we look forward. So,
Yeah, 100%. I agree completely. And I
well,
feel like as an AI consultant, we kind of, sorry, did you,
no, you're good. Go ahead, Joey.
as an AI consultant, we're regularly looking forward, right? And looking for these innovations and looking at like what's on the edge of what AI is capable of
Yes.
doing. And I think that's kind of where the AI agents comes in. I don't know, mainstream. I don't think AI agents are going to be mainstream for people like the large language models are. I
Hmm.
think the biggest thing this year, and we kind of already touched on this, beyond that is just the adoption that is going to occur from people and people really learning how to strategically implement these models, just these LLMs, like just ChatGPT and Claude and Llama or whatever language model they're using, but strategically be able to implement them throughout their business,
Mm.
right? Like I think that's kind of the baseline because I think AI agents and the technology is like really exciting what's coming. But for most business owners, in my opinion at least, um, they need to learn how to strategically implement what's available right now and what's working really well right now. And it's not a theory or an idea, it's actually in production. People are using it, it's working right now. Get yourself and your entire management team and your people operating at a high level with these tools. I think
Mm.
that's really important for business owners this year. And I think we'll see some of that because when you start thinking about everything that's possible, I think it can become a little overwhelming.
No
Trying to
question, no
figure
question.
stuff.
And that's actually a great feed into my next question, which is, as businesses are looking to implement AI, I think, we tend to, as business owners, take one and two scenarios, Joey. We either, again, we're sticking our heads in the sand going, we're not going to do it. I don't think that's the right scenario. Or we're like, I am so excited. I'm going to do all of this and I'm going to do it all right away. And unfortunately, that latter part, I think, while admirable in my mind from an entrepreneurial perspective, just isn't reality. It's you can't do everything right away. If a business owner is listening to us today, Joey, and going, okay, I need to get more serious about AI, I need to more than just dabble in it, what would you recommend would be maybe the top 2 or 3 things that they look at over the next, say, 3 months, 91 days? What should they be looking at in your mind as areas to bring AI into their business for some quick wins?
Yeah, I think the first place I would look is, I guess, what I said just a little bit ago, is
Yep.
get familiar with the large language models, and the main ones being Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, probably. Those are the ones I use most, at least. and Perplexity as well for market research, but just start using them and get familiar with them. And then my recommendation would be to take that to the next step and begin to become great at them, at using them. Begin to help your team get familiar with them and become great at them. And prior to both of that, if you are a business owner with employees, get your governance policy in place for AI. Get something in place for your staff so they understand what's acceptable and what's not, what type of information they can feed into the models, what they can't. So get your governance policy in place, but then after that, then get people familiar with it. Start to increase their understanding of the models and how to use them strategically, how to prompt in a way that's going to get them results and reliable results every time, especially with tasks that they're doing every day. So that would be, bar none, that's absolutely, that's where I would start, is becoming experts at using large language models.
Excellent. Oh, I think that's great advice. And I think that, once you understand that, it makes it so much easier to use on a day-to-day basis in everything that we do. So I think that's fantastic. Well, Joey, if people are interested in learning more about you or getting in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach out and connect with you?
Best way right now is going to be through LinkedIn. Finding Joey Gindy on LinkedIn would be the best way. I'll respond quickly. We can jump on a call. I'm happy to take calls and just talk about what the next step, what they're dealing with, and what I think their next step should be when it comes to AI.
Awesome. Well, Joey, I want to thank you for your time today. It's been great chatting with you. Again, great meeting you through the AI Persona certification program and love just chatting and hearing how things are applying. And I love the things you were able to share with about it in your case, how it applies even in the cannabis industry, something many we go, well, hang on, how does that all going to fit in? So really appreciate your time and appreciate you sharing. For those of you that are watching and or listening, and we appreciate you guys a ton, we would, of course, love it if you would thumb this up and tell us that we did great. We'd appreciate any 5-star reviews. And, of course, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode of the 91-Day AI Transformation Podcast. With that, make it a great day, everybody, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye, everyone.